Welcome, friends, gamers, and other enthusiasts to the BoydofZINJ channel. I hope you enjoy your time here and the video. Please like, subscribe, do all the bell icons, and comment. It really does help small content creators like myself and others by doing so. If you click on the notifications, it may even let others and the YouTube gods know that they may enjoy these videos. With that being said, let's play.
Hello, Commander. This Council of Nations has chosen to activate the XCOM project.
The year is 2009. The world teeters on the brink of nuclear war. Tensions between capitalist and communist nations are at boiling point. Every opportunity for peace has failed. We Xenonauts know the truth. The dark forces poisoning our politics are not human in origin. The war for our future begins now.
Welcome to Xenonauts 2 Early Access, Episode 1, the tutorial. My name's BoydofZINJ. I'm a new content creator. I'm inexperienced, and I do apologize about that. I hope you enjoy your time here. This is the alpha build. The game was just recently released. The music is loud. I'm going to have to turn down the music. Give me a moment. And just to let you know, I'm a 50-plus-year-old gentleman from Texas. My reflexes are slowed down because I'm getting older. Here's the audio. And this is a voiceover. The actions you're seeing me were done in the past. I decided to do the voiceover after the fact. Okay, so I adjusted the volume. Since I'm a new and inexperienced content creator and I've done some research, I know the YouTube gods don't like music, and music often gets flagged for copyright situations. And since, I can't fight them, I'm, not that popular, and I don't, have a means or funds to fight them for erroneous reasons, I'm not going to even try. So most music selections, unfortunately, will have to be removed or turned off for the most part. With that being said, I do hope you enjoy yourself here. And to give you a heads up, even though this is my first time playing Xenonauts 2, I did play the original Xenonauts. I never finished the game. Something just always kept on pulling me away at other games, real life. Yes, I do work for a living outside of YouTube videos and video games. And as a result, I never, finished or even got very far into the original Xenonauts. Likewise, I did finish back in the day. I think I was in college. The original, or after college, the original XCOM, and then when Firaxis took over XCOM, excuse me about that. And then when Firaxis took over XCOM and made Enemy Unknown, I actually enjoyed it. I thought it streamlined it for the better. And then XCOM 2, I enjoyed that one even better. And I played both of them on Iron Man mode, and I'll be the first one to admit there was a few occasions I got frustrated and cheated. However, many of my soldiers did die. On this game, since I consider myself somewhat of a veteran, but not that experienced, I'm going to be playing on veteran. I will not be playing on Iron Man mode. Quite frankly, this is real life. I understand how recording goes. Truth be said, this is the second time I had to do the voiceover. I'm still inexperienced. I'm making mistakes, and as a result, I know I may, forget to, copy, or to showcase a load, and I'm going to have to reload, in weird situations. So I will not be playing in Iron Man mode. For the most part, I do not like cheating. I will not cheat unless absolutely necessary, and even then, probably not. If bug happens, right? This is early access. Now, I'm not picking Commander. Like I said, I never did finish the original Xenonauts. I was going to call it XCOM. Yeah, I know they're very similar, and I know the history behind it. Why Xenonauts came in place, and
The year is
let's look at the
2009.
intro.
The
Again,
world
this is
teeters on
the
brink of
actual
nuclear
game
war.
itself.
Tensions between capitalist and communist nations are at boiling point. Every opportunity for peace has failed, as if an invisible hand inexorably steers humanity towards annihilation. We Xenonauts know the truth. The dark forces poisoning our politics are not human in origin, and we must protect our planet against this extraterrestrial threat however we can. After years spent gathering information on an enemy that few believe exist, we are finally ready to strike back. The war for our future begins now.
All right, this is the very first part of the tutorial. There's loading screens, and again, when the gameplay you're seeing here is me doing it raw live for the first time. This voiceover is after the fact. So I'm looking at it at a second pair of eyes. Actually, this is the third time because I actually did an original voiceover that I goofed up and forgot to save it. But I'm still new at this. Welcome to Xenonauts 2. Okay, since this is a tutorial, it's giving us an original base somewhere on the map, and also instructions on how to play the game. At the original time when I was originally looking at this, I knew most of this already. I understand the basics, and I'm not paying attention to the actual words on the screen. The words on the screen are trying, tell me that sometimes they're be linked. They could be nested links to the inside the game, and tooltips within tooltips, and the game is trying to have me click on the third set of nested tooltips, and I'm not understanding what's happening because, quite frankly, in real life I'm not reading all the information. I skimmed over the basics, and I say, yeah. I just want to get the next part. Yeah, I understand. I'm not understanding what's happening. And again, this is the nature of the tutorial. The tutorial is very scripted, and we have to follow instructions. And I'm not, at the original time I'm playing this, I didn't understand this. Now I understand it. So what I need to do is click on, and now I'm actually reading. It says, wait a moment, what's happening here? It says, oh, okay. They want me to actually click on the link, get the little circle with the middle mouse button, look at the link, and then click proceed. It says, I could have done this 20 seconds, 30 seconds ago. Chief Scientist, my work on the radar array is now complete. I view him as a snob. Chief Scientist, theoretically, we should now be capable of tracking any alien UFOs passing within radar range of the facility. Operations Director, thank God. It's not exactly been easy to borrow all the things you've been asking for. Chief Scientist, hardly my concern. We all must achieve the impossible if we're to triumph against the extraterrestrials. Operations Director, yes, very inspirational. What's the plan now? Chief Scientist, we wait for an alien craft to pass within range in the next few months. At that point, the commander takes over. Okay, so the tutorial is teaching me about radar range. You'll notice that wherever the primary base is that has radar, there's a primary circle. This is where we can intercept and see any extraterrestrials. Radars also have an extreme range as well, and you'll see multiple bubbles. The further out it is, the less accurate and probable our interceptors can get to them. So we want to primarily, wherever we want to have coverage, we want to primarily do it inside this main primary bubble range. With that being said, just like XCOM, and they're talking about anomalies right now, and anomalies are big UFO situations, and sometimes these quote unquote cleaners who are human sympathizers. A UFO's been detected. They want us to launch aircraft, and again, I can't deviate. This is the game, and they want us to auto resolve the combat. You could do it manually, but early on, auto resolve much better. I do apologize about that. Real life happens, which is why I do a voiceover like this. Someone called me. Regardless, this is an auto resolve of the air combat. Just like in XCOM EU, there's we had to purchase aircraft to shoot down the UFOs. There's a crash site. Normally, we investigate the crash site and do a tactical squad mission. However, this is scripted. The quote unquote cleaners, who are the human organizations who are friendly to the aliens and hostile towards us, are going to be invading us. And since this is also the tutorial, I'm not able to alter or change or switch up or modify any of these units' names or weapons or anything. Again, I'm following a script, and I should just be doing what it's saying. It's trying to explain that these are my soldiers. This is the items that the soldiers can get. Lock and load. Let's play. And eventually I'll get there. Here's the script. Chief Scientist. That sounds ominous. Operation Director. It is. Every cleaner cell in the region is deploying tactical teams. No prizes for guessing where they're headed. Time for us to leave. Chief Scientist. Wonderful. Just what my research efforts needed. Operations Director. I suggest you recall your soldiers, Commander. We need to hold the perimeter until everyone can get away. Indeed. Try not to get killed. You seem less mediocre than your predecessor. From the Chief Scientist. Operations Director. Yeah, good luck, Commander. We're counting on you. And again, I do apologize if my read is a little bit wrong. I don't normally do this for a living, so this is my first attempt at stuff like this. I do hope you enjoyed the gameplay. Again, this is going to be a scripted fight, so I have to follow the instructions. At the time of me doing this, I'm still not quite understanding that, but I will understand it shortly. So the game's teaching us the basic map control. Left, right, rotations. Now this map has a lot of verticality, or the game itself, and most maps will have verticality. And again, eventually the game will show us, oh look, you can look just in case there's a second floor, third floor. Sometimes enemies will be on roofs. Sometimes you can put yourself on a roof, so you could do an overwatch of like compound grounds or create kill zones or what have you. Now, I really liked XCOM 2, Early War, and XCOM EU and XCOM 2. They simplified the game without making it too dumbified, right? Now, in this game, it's a little bit more complicated. They have what they call time units. Every soldier has so much time that they can spend per turn. The further you move, the more time it takes. The bigger an action is, the more time it takes. So you have to balance, between and different types of modes of shooting. Careful shooting versus hip fire shooting versus, aimed precision shooting. All takes more or less time depending on what you're doing. So you have to balance all of that within each soldier. And it's telling us, again, this is scripted. Have cover. Cover is going to be important in this game. It's not the end all be all of everything. You could shoot, you could destroy cover, you could still hit people within cover. There's many situations. The game is also very destructible. We'll be eventually learning that the game itself, objects can be destroyed, and from my understanding, harder objects will require either more powerful weapons or explosives. A pistol can destroy flimsy boxes, however, won't be able to destroy a hardened concrete wall. You'll need like a rocket, for instance. On the flip side, that same rocket could also destroy boxes. Of course, there might be, collateral damage, and you may not want to be close to those boxes when they blow up. So right now, you see on the screen that I just shot a soldier, an enemy, and that enemy killed down. Keep in mind, these aren't aliens. These are actually human sympathizers who are either supporting the aliens or want the aliens to win for whatever reasons. And they're called cleaners. They're showing that there's RNG in the game. The higher the percent chance of hitting an enemy, the higher the probability of you hitting the enemy. That makes sense. But there's still RNG. A 90% chance doesn't mean you're going to hit. It could mean you miss 10% of the time. That's 1 in 10 chances. And, which means, you could miss 3 times in a row at 90%. That, while it's highly improbable, it's possible. That's the way how numbers work. 1 in 10 chances, is still 1 in 10. There's still, probability of you hitting it. And just because, you had, snake eyes 2 previous times doesn't mean the third time you won't get snake eyes. That's not the way how numbers work. Now, the probability of having 3 snake eyes is extremely low, but still possible, right? And they're showing that there's also different fire modes. And some fire modes will have less chances of hits. But in this case, this weapon fires 3 times and 61% chance. And again, it's referring us back to RNG, random number generators, right? It's trying to tell us that even 61% chances can completely miss. The second time it didn't. 1 of them or 2 of them, in this case, all 3 hit. But it's possible that, again, 61% is about 50-50. So you flip a coin 3 times, it should land heads half the times and tails half the times. But sometimes it can land all tails, all heads. It's improbable, but it's still possible. And I'm sure most of you understand this. The reason I'm very stressful is oftentimes I would look at XCOM videos and see comments, and people get frustrated because they had a 90% chance to hit and their soldier missed. And it's just, that's why I should have hit. No, you still have a chance to miss. And trust me, I would get frustrated too. I one time lost one of my best soldiers because I took a 78% chance, a 90% chance, and a 95% chance and came up goose eggs. It's like, Came back to the tutorial. They're also showing that range can make a difference. Boxes can, cover can make a difference. You can destroy, like I said previously, you can destroy containers. Destroying the container gave the person in the back who had like a sniper type weapon clear shot to the enemy, and his chances went from a low percent chance to hit to an almost automatic percent chance to hit. So again, this is all showing us the details of the game. Now they're going to be teaching us about throwing objects, grenades, stun grenades, smoke grenades. We also have C4, which are like time grenades. It can be really useful. And you can see that these people are grouped up together, really useful for getting a grenade. And again, I'm not understanding. I need to follow the instructions. And I'm realizing, they want me to do something with the grenade. Maybe that's why the word grenade's there and it has like arrows and stuff. And this talk about demolition charges. Again, not a technical grenade. It's just showing it's like, oh yeah, I can throw it there. It's like, oh, okay. This is what you want me to do. Okay. Again, all this is scripted. The game is now teaching us that certain weapons, while they could be very deadly and do more damage, also require a lot more time points to use. And most characters can have secondary weapons like pistols, where the pistols themselves, while they do less damage, take less time points to use. So sometimes people with large weapons such as saws and light machine guns want to use pistols because they don't have enough time units to actually use the big heavy guns at that turn. And now they're also showing that, and this is a nice new feature, where if we move to a certain position, not only can we flank them, but it'll increase our probability of hitting. Shotguns are close range weapons, and moving to the side will negate this person's cover because that person won't be covered at that location. and you can see your probability of hitting and how many time units you're going to take if you go to that position ahead of time. And sure enough, the tutorial had me move and I shot and killed the person. But again, this is all scripted information. There's now reinforcements. Commander, there's too many of them. Fall back to the next room. Okay, and now they're talking about Overwatch fire. Unlike XCOM EU and XCOM 2, there's no direct Overwatch button. Having enough time units left over will give you an Overwatch of whatever you're viewing at, assuming you have a valid weapon that can hit that range. And sometimes Overwatch isn't worth it because you could see a person and that person could be running so fast that by the time you fire, that person's in cover. At least that's my understanding. It may not be the case in Xenonauts 2. But from my understanding in Xenonauts 1 and even XCOM, that's the way how it worked. And technically, Overwatch wasn't as good as normal firing because you never knew whether or not the shot you're going to randomly take is going to be as good as one that you can precision aim and decide to take. It's now explaining, the difference between stun grenades and smoke. Someone who gets stunned, if you were reading the information, gets suppressed. Suppressed people have lower chances, probabilities of hitting, and also have reduced time units in the next turn, in their next turn. As a result, they can fire less than Overwatch, and when their turn comes up, they'll be able to do less, and their probability of hitting is even worse because they're quote unquote suppressed. And smoke grenades also block line of fire. So that way you don't have to worry about even RNG going their way, even if it's a low probability of hit, right? Again, all this is scripted. Mission complete. The next portion of the game is going to show us we want to build our permanent, quote unquote, first permanent base. The first one, the original one we had, the tutorial one, got overran and we had to abandon it. Darn humans. The second one will eventually get this new one, from my understanding, and you can read the information, but from my understanding, and again, I haven't done that much research, but based on the information I've gleaned, on the conversations, that the cleaners will eventually find us out, and if we're not able to repel the cleaners, we're going to possibly lose our next base. And based on the difficulty of this game and the tutorial, it seems highly likely that we may lose our first base. We'll see, Commander. We'll see. Okay, so these people are talking about their new base. Has lots of old stuff, code stuff, and the commander doesn't mind having old code stuff. And notice, that the operations director is mentioning that we'll probably get, attacked at our current base as well. So where should we set up our first primary base outside of the tutorial? I'm thinking, if this is anything like the previous game, the natural inclination for me, I'm a Texan, which means I'm from the United States. So you would figure I want to, cover the United States and some of Mexico. However, that's a terrible location. I'll tell you why. The United States is a really good country. It is, very rich and will give us good funds. Mexico, not so. Canada, somewhat. South America, Central America, terrible countries, right? So we won't get as much money outside of North America, United States, and possibly Canada. Likewise, roundabout Central, the Texas area, Mexico area, is a lot of water. If you think about it, if you look at the map, you notice that it's basically very skinny in the middle. So coverage is not optimal. As a result, you're covering mostly water, which is terrible Because if you shoot down an alien, you're not going to be able to research it or get experience from those aliens. So I'm thinking we should cover Europe. Europe has a lot of rich countries. The west parts of Russia, where Moscow, Kiev, and a bunch of other cities is very industrialized and rich. Then there's North Africa and the Middle East. And regardless of what you think of Israel and the Middle East and those countries over there, there's a lot of oil there, a lot of resources, a lot of money. So I'm thinking somewhere in the middle here. That'll cover both, most of Europe, North Africa, which is saying, but the Middle East, and cover west portion of Russia. And in fact, I believe this is the island of Crete, which is south of Greece, or South Islands of Greece. And I said, okay, and I'm going to call this Europe Command. Okay, so with that being said, I do hope you enjoy the first episode, which is tutorial. The second episode will be coming up shortly, and it'll be off scripted. From my understanding, it'll be completely, whatever I want to do. I'll start renaming soldiers. I'll customize, and I'll do my best not to fumble the game and lose it to these cleaners or to the alien invasion. Again, this is Xenonauts 2 early access. The third act and the end game is not implemented in this build. So even if I progress very far into the game, I'll get to a point where the game will eventually get stuck and I'm not able to complete anything. That being said, this is still early access. I hope you enjoy your time here. If you have any comments, please like, subscribe, leave a comment. If you have any suggestions or you want to be, one of my soldiers, you're welcome to do so. And the one thing I'll warn you is you may die. I hear this game is, difficult. So some of my soldiers will probably be kicking the bucket, which makes it also kind of fun at the same time too. I was just about to sign off. In fact, I was thinking about ending it here. However, let's do some quick research. This game has research, and I'm thinking we need to do some research, just so that way we won't forget about it. Again, you can read all this invasion analysis. The game's basically saying, you better do something. Alien forces are upon us. Things are ramping up. Human forces will try and get us. If there's too much panic in the area, we'll get less money. We need to avoid getting panic. And again, the areas that we get are available, we'll be able to control, hopefully, and get extra money. There's only one thing to research, which is combat vehicles. So I'm getting combat vehicles. It'll take, quote, 5 days, which should be our probably first or second mission. There's nothing else to research, so I concluded. And again, I'm going to save it. I hope you enjoy your time here, and you're welcome to come back. If you have any comments, please like, subscribe, leave a comment, suggestions. If you want to be part of my team, one of my soldiers, please do so. Otherwise, I'll be naming the soldiers after friends that I have, my online friends. And I wish them best luck because I suspect many of them will probably pass away and die. And I may even have seconds, and juniors and seniors and the third and the fourth people in here. Have a great day. And again, from Texas, I wish you the best of days, and like, subscribe. And I do apologize. I don't do this for a living. So I need to think of a better ending next time.